Hi, my name is Caitlin Reese, and this is me taking control. In today's age of social media, it's pretty often to see people becoming victims of something, whether that's injustice or a personal struggle. We all have our own battles that we are facing day to day. However, the way we deal with those battles determines the outcome of these struggles that we face. Personally, I used to look at the world as if it was always turned against me, especially when it came to my addiction with nicotine. Now I've learned that in order to become better, I have to avoid blaming others, take responsibility, and put in the work needed to succeed. Now, for 5 years, while I was making excuses for nicotine, I became someone that I loathed. And it wasn't until I was at my lowest point that I needed to hear the right words in order for me to finally flip a switch and change my mind. And it all started with high school. Back in that day, I didn't realize at the time, but I was building my own trap and walking right into it without realizing it. I still remember that first night where we were all sitting around and someone was handing around a vape. And I remember for years I had said, there's no reason for me to try nicotine. But for some reason, that night, I decided to take a hit, stopped, passed it to the next person. Thought nothing of it until the next day, where I happened to get my hands on my own device. And from there, my addiction quickly grew. Now, from that point on, I had always blamed those people for letting me start my nicotine addiction. I felt they were the number one reason that I even started this in the first place. But even though I tried to quit, I kept coming up with all these excuses not to. Some of that would be the stress that I would deal with from work, school, or my personal at home life. Sometimes it would be me needing to be able to focus on homework or studying, or it might have just simply been being around friends and family that also did it. So I felt comfortable doing it as well. But 5 years later, my body started to take a toll with the nicotine. And I'd been sitting in this trap for so long, I didn't realize that I was the person that had to get myself out of it. But I started to realize whenever I started experiencing some health issues that kind of scared me for my own well being. It started with these really sharp chest pains I would get near my lungs. Um, Sometimes really painful and debilitating. And that eventually developed into sleep apnea, where I would wake up choking on my own phlegm. And sometimes I'd be laying there not being able to breathe for like 10, 20 seconds at a time. But even then, I still persisted with the nicotine up until a conversation I was having a friend one day where I'm kind of venting out all these excuses and frustrations. And he finally just goes, you're gonna stay like this forever? And then he says, you should annihilate that part you hate and set a foundation for your ego. And for some reason, hearing the word ego is what really did it for me. And I started to realize all this time I'd been making all these excuses and blaming other people when really it was my own fault the whole time from the very beginning. And because I wanted to stay comfortable and not deal with any stress or any pressure, I decided to come up with these excuses so I wouldn't have to deal with it. So from that point on, I completely quit. As soon as I heard those words, it was it for me. And I've been 3 months clean since. And since then, I've also looked at other things in my life with a new lens, such as even though I was never addicted to these substances, alcohol, and energy drinks, as they're just substances I don't really need and they're so harmful to the body. Um, but now I look at other things in my life with this perspective just because I want to be a better person and I don't want to be blaming anything else around me for any more issues I have or might have in the future. I only want to blame myself and be able to fix it myself. And well, a lot of people say nicotine addiction is really silly and for me, as you have heard, was a more serious and detrimental experience that completely changed my life. Um, yeah, for a long time, I really struggled um, until I finally realized I had to take responsibility for myself. And now, in every aspect of my life, I make sure that I am accountable for my actions and I put in whatever work needed to fix those problems. And so, in the wise words of David Goggins, despair is a comfort zone, and I refuse to avoid that comfort zone. Thank you.